Hello everybody and welcome back, and today I've got a Des Moines video for all of you. Bit of a strange battle that I had a couple days ago. Enemy team, and well, yeah, as you notice, there's only one battleship per team, bunch of cruisers, bunch of destroyers, and one carrier. Of course, I'm in Des Moines. That pretty much means bad news for the carrier. Now, a couple of sort of little things, right? So sort of little pointers. Now, if you're playing any ship that's got really good AA, or you're playing any ship that has got radar, one of the things that I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that can maybe help you out is the minimap, those circles that you get on the minimap. So, for example, right now I've got the AA circle enabled, and you'll notice that there's a big orange circle on my minimap that says 7.2. That's the max range from my AA guns. You also see my air detect and surface detect circles. So that's the dotted light blue lines, like 7.8 and I think 10.6 or something like that. Not sure what the outer circle there is. And then of course you have the big one, which is the max range of your guns, which is 18.4. So how do these circles help you? Well, the orange circles are really useful because what you can do is at a quick glance, you can see whether or not you're in position or not as a Des Moines. So what I mean by that is that if I'm in the right position, the ships that I'm trying to cover are going to be inside that orange circle. So if planes come within that orange circle and look like they're going to attack somebody, I can pop defensive and help my team out. Of course, that also means that you have to generally pick your positions properly. Even in battles where, let's say, you have more battleships and the battle might be a little bit slower paced, you can do this as well. Make sure that your battleships are within that orange circle of yours. If not, you might want to think about repositioning. Of course, when you reposition as a Des Moines, you also always want to think about where you can maximize your firepower and also where you could stay relatively safe from return fire. So for me, that would have been that island back there had my team played a more static battle. Let's assume that there's a lot of enemy ships coming this direction. But there wasn't, so of course I just push up with my team, stick with them, lend them as much support as I can. So just keep an eye out on that orange circle. Now, how do those dotted circles help? Well, those dotted circles usually are a little bit further out, right? You usually have, like, let's say a surface attack circle that might be a little bit close to, let's say, where your radar range might be. So what you can do is, remember how you get those last position indicators on the map? Oh, and by the way, this Ibuki just... look how quickly this Ibuki dies. Full HP, runs into a Des Moines, offers broadside. My first salvo was an HE salvo, immediately swapped to AP, and within 3 salvos, that Ibuki is dead. Now, 3 salvos for Des Moines is like sub, what, 20 seconds even? Yeah, sub 20 seconds. Dead Ibuki. See? Gotta be really careful. when you're running into Des Moines and you're in a cruiser, you gotta be really careful not to offer that broadside. You could get deleted really quickly. Anyways, so back to the dotted circle thing again. So with the dotted circle, one of the things that could help there is you can use that and the last position indicators to know when you might want to throw off your radar. So right now, in front of me, I see a smoke screen. I see a last position indicator for the enemy Neptune. And I notice that he's outside of my large dotted circle, right, which is 10.6. There we go. And so because that is outside my radar range, I'm not going to pop my radar. I'm going to save it. I'm going to close that range a little bit more and then pop my radar then. And you might notice that there is actually an enemy destroyer, a Tashkent, that is unspotted to my south. And you might be wondering why I'm not popping radar. Well, the reason I haven't is because I thought there was all these other destroyers around me. There was, I think, like 4 at the time. There was, I think there's even a Fletcher and a Yugumo to my south that I thought, if they come, they're going to get wrecked anyways. Okay, so enemy planes come in. There you go. Defensive is up. So just drop in planes out of the sky. I should have popped defensive a tiny bit earlier. Actually, in this battle, on 2 occasions, I could have popped it just a little bit earlier, but was a little bit late, but still managed to bag, I think, all of those bombers. Tashkent now comes really close. And I noticed that the Fletcher is... I don't really know what the Fletcher was doing. He was shooting at him, but... yeah, so decided that that's not good. Turned around to engage, and of course by turning around to engage, I also popped my radar because that would let my team to spot that Neptune. Yeah, I was trying to avoid this torpedo salvo, but that didn't go too well. That didn't go too well. I took the one on the bow, didn't slow down fast enough, and took the one on the stern, which, ow. That was painful. Anyways, popped my radar as I was turning around just to do one of two things. One, I knew I was going to have to present a broadside to the Neptune. So by popping radar, I was hoping, A, my team could maybe fire a little bit at him. And two, if Neptunes get lit by radar, they might want to run away a little bit, right? Don't want to get spotted. Also, funny thing, you notice that I radared the Neptune. You notice the Neptune moved. So the Neptune should be aware that I have radar, right? Okay. Just keep that in mind, because there's something that's going to be a little bit funny that happens in a bit. Alright, so team is continuing to push around. Now there is an enemy ship that's managed to get to the B cap and is capping that, but we have A and C. And in the sort of light ship engagements where you don't have too many battleships, it really turns into a big sort of chase each other around in a giant circle, right? So we're continuing to try to push up right behind, take the decap, and then doesn't matter what the enemy team does. If they go take A, we'll continue to push around and do the best we can. So yeah, so anyways, going back to that mini-map thing, you can use those circles, right, with their ranges to help you out, actually. The last spotted position and, of course, the distance, you can sort of use to predict when you might want to be popping off radar and not waste your radar, right? There's a lot of times where you have ships that they pop radar when it's not really necessary, or when ships are not really in a position to, get radared, and then it becomes a waste, and then when they need it, it's not there. So using the minimap, you can kind of help decide when you want to use your radar, and also where you should be moving if you're playing a ship with an AA setup to protect your team against enemy carriers. Okay, once again, enemy midway sending in dive bombers. Now, I mentioned there was 2 times where I was a little bit slow on the defensive fire. This was another one. Strangely enough, the enemy midway was really into coming for me. I guess my HP was low enough he thought that maybe he could kill me, but yeah, well, I was a little confused by that. Anyways, very pretty A, mind you. Look at that A, just so pretty. Managed to get a bunch of those planes. Did take 1 hit there, which started a fire but repaired right away. One thing to sort of point out right around here is that the midway on the enemy team is, well, getting shot at by everybody. Just in a bad place, right? If you're playing carrier, the only carriers that I can excuse you being out of position, you're really far behind your team, would be the Bogue, the Langley, and the Lexington. Pretty much every other carrier, you really should be trying your best to at least keep up with your team. In this case, you'll notice that the midway is kind of way behind his team. His team's already run all the way to the B cap, and he's still close to where the D cap is on the border, so not a good place to be. He should have been a lot closer to where the B cap is right now. Would almost argue that in his current state, he should probably be a couple of tiles over and a little bit more to the north even, and not so far all the way out on that border there. That place is just not a good place. Eventually he's going to have to turn, towards the north area, because there's a huge chunk of landmass that's going to block him, and he has to turn north, and he's going to get shot to death by me there. Alright, anyways, aside from that, the other thing I guess really is, because here I am, continuing to sort of follow up my routine, shoot at stuff, right, including that gearing. A little bit further away, kind of hard to hit with a Des Moines at times if you're a small destroyer at range. So anyways, going back to what I was talking about earlier. So regardless of what kind of team composition, if the enemy team has a carrier, you are going to try to do this, which is stay with your team, keep as many ships as possible within that orange circle, ideally closer, so that you actually have a chance to shoot at those aircraft for some duration of time, so they don't just come in, drop on target, and run away, right? So if you're playing against a CV and you have a team, this is kind of what you want to do. If you're playing against a CV and you have a lot of battleships and the battle is very static, and there's also a high threat of you getting nuked, then find a friendly island. Then you're going to be able to essentially offer that AA support while at the same time keeping yourself relatively safe. And of course, if that island is low enough, you can also lend some fire support and pew pew some stuff. The Des Moines has that crazy rate of fire where your HE, even though the fire chance is not as good as a Zal, just the sheer volume of that is going to do some damage. And of course, if something gives you a broadside, AP away. AP is like amazing at certain positions and angles, right? So do that if you're in a Des Moines. Midway, yeah, as you can tell, just running out of real estate, so has to turn, and of course by turning, it's reducing the distance to me, so of course I open up with my guns, and against a Des Moines, a Midway, one spotted is not going to live very long. Okay, so once again, my defensive is up, see some enemy planes coming towards some of my friendly ships, just keeping that A up and just popping off some of those aircraft, and it's right now I've got like, what, 44 plane kills? It's going to end up being quite a good number of plane kills, which at the end, by the way, is a very, very, very good amount of reward. So that's another thing, right? Like plane kills. If you get them, and you get a good number of them, you can really rack up that experience, right? There we go. Midway taking some hits. I kind of potatoed the shots a little bit there. I could have aimed a little bit further back. Would have would have hit a little bit more citadels there, I think, but whatever. Sheer rate of fire is going to be able to just take that ship down. So, see? Leading a little bit too much. Okay. So Midway's going to go down. Take a look at the map. The enemy team has actually managed to finally get into a cap advantage position. They have finally taken some more of those caps. They've got an A, they've got B now, and they're on their way to taking C. Not really a problem just because of how far ahead we are on points, and of course we're relatively close to the B cap as well. So of course we're going to run in there. Taking a look at the map, enemy team has a cruiser, a battleship, 2 destroyers left. Both destroyers are, well actually one of them is spotted right there. That's the Fletcher. Gonna pew pew him, see what happens there. Oh, nope, got stuck behind an island. Try to lob the shot over the island, but he is too close. He's jammed right up there. That's okay. Alright, so continue to move my way onto the B cap and assist with the capture. Try to capture as quickly as possible. And then once that's done, noticing that the battleship is closer to A, the destroyers are somewhat near us, and it looks like there's only one ship really down south right now on the C cap. I am going to head towards C through the middle as soon as I finish capping. Ooh, there it goes. The Fletcher's popped up again. Fire my first salvo. And I don't think I'm going to clip him. I'm going to shoot the one from behind the island. Just because I have a feeling the Fletcher's going to... Yeah, there he goes. There he goes. Runs into the shell. Okay, there we go. So this cap is going to get taken. Their Fletcher is down. Alright, our battleship is still over there brawling with their battleship on the A cap. Not my concern. A bit too far away, and Des Moines against Iowa. I mean, I guess I could have gone there and farmed some damage, but I'm going to focus on the win first. Alright, enemy Neptune has popped up right at the middle. Alright, so as a Des Moines, kind of 2 options. One, you go forward, you hope you catch the Neptune in some kind of vulnerable position, and if you pop smoke, radar him and maybe kill him off quickly. Not really the best choice there if you did that. Just because at close range, you have to respect those torpedoes. That Neptune could easily have wrecked me, right? Just with those torps. So a little bit more passive. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this position. We're up on points right now, and we're tight on cap, so there's no real need for me to push over. And the Neptune pops smoke, so I pop radar, and of course, easy target. He's made a mistake because he's gone for those torpedoes. So watch how quickly, right, this ends. Salvo 1, Salvo 2, game over, 8 citadels. And I also got my Kraken as well. Now, also pay attention to chat, right? Pay attention to chat, because this Neptune, who I radared earlier and is aware that I have radar, came out, popped smoke, and called me a bullshit cheat fuck. Cool! Cool! Yeah! You got to tier 9 and you're unaware what radar is. Congratulations, buddy. You're awesome. That actually made my day, because I'm like, you know I radared you earlier. You know that I had it, and... Okay. Anyways. Yeah, so that does it for this battle, actually. Got my Kraken. Now, 116k damage. Wasn't all that impressive damage-wise, right? But take a look at this. 655,000 credits. 7,669 experience. You know, for basically, what? You know, 13 citadels. one fire. Yeah, actually only got one fire there. 5 ships killed off, but 51 planes shot down. That's what makes quite a big difference, I think, when it comes to actually the experience that I got. Because once you take a look at the base experience, you realize that, wow, for a battle where it didn't seem like I did too much, look at that. I got 3,298 base experience, right? So compare that to the next highest person on the team, and you'll sort of see that huge difference, right? If you're playing the Des Moines, learn to play support, you'll have a great time at it. Credit earned, 432k net on a tier 10 ship with no premium camo, so pretty damn good. Anyways, folks, I hope you enjoyed this replay. Just updating you all on real life things. Mom was out of the ICU a couple days ago, thought she was on her way to recovery, but, some things felt kind of off, so the doctors ordered another CT, and they found another fluid buildup in her brain. So, yeah, things are just not looking all too hot right now. Potentially another surgery on the way, and more time in ICU after, so not the best news on that front. Anyways, I still hope you enjoyed this replay. I'm still trying to get out as much content as I can, although that is kind of hard these days. I hope you all have a great day. Take care, and I look forward to talking to all of you again somewhat soon. Alright, take care, folks.